Picture a small wooden boat, miles from shore, rocking hard in the black water of a lake that has turned against you. The wind screams, every wave slaps the hull like it wants in. Somewhere out there in the dark, something is walking toward you across the water. Now imagine the figure comes closer, and it looks nothing like rescue. It looks like a ghost. What do you do when the very thing meant to save you looks, at first, like the thing you fear most? This is a story about where your eyes land when the water gets rough, not about how strong your faith has to be. Welcome back to Beyond the Cross. This story sits right after Jesus fed 5,000 hungry people with a few loaves and fish. Once the crowds were sent home, Jesus told his disciples to get in the boat and go ahead of him, while he climbed a mountain alone to pray. The Sea of Galilee was known for storms that could rise almost without warning, cool air rushing down from the surrounding hills and colliding with warm air over the water. The disciples, many of them fishermen, would have known that danger well. That night, the wind turned against them and they were still far from shore. Hour after hour, the disciples fought the oars, soaked and exhausted, making little progress against the wind. It's easy to imagine their arms burning, their nerves fraying, wondering where Jesus was and why they'd been sent out alone. Faith doesn't always feel like peace. Sometimes it feels like rowing through the dark, unsure if morning will ever come. Then, in the fourth watch of the night, sometime between 3 and 6 in the morning, they saw him. A figure walking on top of the sea itself, moving steadily through the wind and the waves like they weren't even there. The disciples cried out in terror, certain they were seeing a ghost. Fear does that. It can make even the answer to our prayers look, for a moment, like a threat. But then a familiar voice cut through the wind. "Take heart," he said. "It is I. Do not be afraid." The same words God used long ago to identify himself to Moses and to Israel were now spoken by a man walking calmly on the sea. For centuries, the scriptures had described God alone as the one who commands the waves, who walks upon the depths of the sea. So when this man calmed their fear while standing on the water itself, the disciples were catching a glimpse of something far bigger than a rescue. They were seeing who he truly was. It was Peter who spoke up first. "Lord," he said, "if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." Notice the humility in that request. Peter wasn't demanding proof. He was asking permission to trust. And Jesus answered with a single word, "Come." No lecture, no conditions, just an open invitation to step into the impossible. And Peter climbed out of the boat and walked on the water toward Jesus. Think about that for a moment. His feet, real feet, stood on a surface that should have swallowed him. This was not recklessness. It was faith answering an invitation. But then Peter noticed the wind. He felt its force, saw the waves rising around his ankles, and his focus shifted from the voice that called him to the chaos surrounding him. That's the pivot point of this whole story. The moment attention moved from the word to the water. Fear rushed in and Peter began to sink. But listen to what he did next. He didn't quietly drown in shame. He cried out, "Lord, save me." That cry wasn't failure. It was still faith, just faith in the middle of crisis. And immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. Not after a lecture, not after a test passed. Immediately, grace arrived before correction ever had the chance to speak. Only then came the gentle words, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" Notice what Jesus did not say. He never said Peter had no faith. Little faith is still faith, and this was correction wrapped inside rescue, not condemnation standing in the way of help. When they climbed back into the boat together, the wind simply stopped. Silence settled over the water like a held breath finally released. And the disciples, soaked and stunned, worshipped him. "Truly," they said, "you are the Son of God." That confession is the real climax of this story. Not Peter's steps, not his sinking, but the unveiling of exactly who was standing in that boat with them. It's worth noting that Mark and John also record this storm and Jesus walking on the water, yet neither mentions Peter stepping out. That's not a contradiction. It's simply Matthew choosing to preserve one more precious detail, the Gospels working together like different witnesses describing the same unforgettable night. Here's where this story meets your life. All of us have a moment when we see the wind, a diagnosis, a bill we can't pay, a relationship falling apart, and our eyes drop from the voice that called us to the chaos in front of us. That shift is not a scandal. It's simply what fear does. But here's the good news hidden in Peter's story. The same Jesus who called him out of the boat is the one who reached for him mid-sink. Doubt didn't disqualify Peter from grace. It simply became the place where grace showed up fastest. Faith was never the absence of fear. It was Peter, soaked and sinking, still crying out toward the only one who could save him. That's what faith looks like most days. Not fearless steps, but a desperate reach toward Jesus, even in the middle of doubt. Jesus didn't leave Peter to sink, and he didn't scold him before he caught him. Whatever storm you're standing in tonight, that same steady hand is reaching for you too. Keep your eyes on him, not because it guarantees calm water, but because he is worth watching. If this story gave you hope, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe to Beyond the Cross for more journeys through God's Word. Truly, He is the Son of God, and He is still reaching out His hand.